Very good morning to all the participants. Greetings from St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkoil. Today we are here for the last day of the 1 week faculty development program on cloud computing, which is jointly organized by Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Department of Information Technology. In this pleasant morning, I am happy to welcome you all for this final day of the program. Few instructions to the participants. Please mute your mic to avoid the disturbances during the webinar. You are requested to switch off your camera to reduce the internet data usage. After the talk of the speaker, you can ask your queries by two ways, as usual. You can type your queries in the chat window, or you can make the hand raise and ask your queries. At the end of the webinar, a feedback link will be provided to you. Today, the feedback link will be having some few questions and the feedback about our faculty development program and what will be the future. As a few analysis questions are there. So please take maximum care on the feedback and give us the right feedback. So it will help us to continue or to organize future faculty development programs also. As a summary, on the first day we discussed about the introduction of the cloud computing and how we can install the VirtualBox VMware workstation like that on the first day. On the second day, we discussed about the Google App Engine and launching the web application in Google App Engine. Then we discussed on the third day, we discussed about how we can simulate a cloud scenario using Cloud SIM and how we can run a scheduling algorithm in the Cloud SIM. And the fourth day, we discussed about how we can install a C compiler in virtual machine and execute the simple program, and how we can transfer the files from one virtual machine to another virtual machine. Yesterday, that is the fifth day, we discussed about the installation of Hadoop and simple applications, running simple application on Hadoop. Today, we are going to discuss about the procedure to launch virtual machine using TriStack, and it will be handled by engineer S. Gavaskar. I already first day I had given the introduction about the Gavaskar, so you all remember about that. He is a clouder, also a assistant professor from our college. Now I invite engineer S. Gavaskar to start his demonstration. Welcome, Gavaskar.
Okay, thank you, Dr. R.P. Annakumar sir. So today, for today's webinar, we are going to see the topic installing VMware EXI hypervisor and creating VM virtual machine using EXI hypervisor. So already we in the second day we learned about what is EXI hypervisor. What it is? It falls under the category of type 1 hypervisor. That is, it is a bare metal hypervisor or type 1 hypervisor. What is bare metal hypervisor and type 1 hypervisor is there is no OS. There is no OS is needed for working with EXI hypervisor. Okay, that is a usage of what type 1 hypervisor. Now we are going to see how to install type 1 hypervisor in VMware Workstation and how to install a guest OS, that is Windows 7 OS, through the EXI hypervisor. So now first we can see the introduction of VMware EXI server, and then we are going to see how to install EXI hypervisor on VMware Workstation, and then we are going to see how to install a guest OS, that is Windows 7, using EXI hypervisor. These two demonstrations we are going to see today. So first we can see the introduction to VMware EXI server. So VMware EXI is an enterprise class type 1 hypervisor developed by VMware for developing and serving virtual computers. So it is normally EXI server is used in on-premise cloud. So it is used in on-premise cloud by the enterprise for creating virtual machines. There is nothing but some advantages are there for EXI hypervisor. That is, we can create the virtual machine through the web interface. So HTML5 web pages are there. We can create the virtual machine through web interface. Then some more advantage is we can throw the, if you want to create a virtual machine in a server, we can type the IP address. From anywhere we can create a virtual machine with to the server by typing the IP address. Then next one is, it is easy to create. The reason is web interface is there for you. Graphical user interface is there for you. It is not very difficult for creating a virtual machine by using EXE server. So you see, if you are using VirtualBox, what you have to do? There is no graphical user interface will be there. You have to go to file, everything, file, then you have to go for, you have to click new for creating. Here you see everything will be presented in a good user interface way, so that you will not get complicated in creating the virtual machine. That is the main advantage of EXI hypervisor. Okay, now we are going to see some disadvantages also there in EXI hypervisor. You see, one of the disadvantages, you see, if you think that in enterprise or in a corporate or on-premise cloud, there will be thousands of virtual machine will be installed. Thousands of virtual machine will be installed by using EXI server. Managing this VM is very, very tedious. Managing these virtual machines which are installed is very, very tedious. Again, this VMware come with a new product that is known as vCenter. So again, you see, we have to install vCenter in one of the server for managing these virtual machines, which we installed using this server. Again, you see, for downloading and installing that vCenter, it is again a tedious process. It is nearly 5 to 6 GB file. It is a file. And if you want to install VMware EXE vCenter, you need 8 GB RAM. Minimum 8 GB RAM should be needed. So today also I cannot show the demonstration of vCenter. It's not possible since my system is 6 GB. So just today I am going to show the demonstration only in EXI hypervisor installation. Okay, I hope you understand this point. That's nothing but, once again I'll repeat this. This is an important thing you have to remember here. You see, if you think the scenario that in an enterprise, 100 VMs are there, 100 virtual machines are created by using VMware EXI hypervisor. Now to manage this VMware, it is a very difficult task. Okay. Now VMware come with a solution known as vCenter. vCenter, to manage this VMware, which is created by using VMware EXI server, we are going to VMware come with a product known as vCenter. So we have to install the vCenter and we have to configure all this VM with the vCenter and we have to manage it. It is a tedious process. Okay, this is one of the disadvantages of VMware EXI. Then another disadvantage is we need many network professionals are needed. Many professionals are needed for managing the EXI server. No, you see, thousands of VMs are there. You need a networking professional should be there, admin professional should be there for managing this. So it is again tedious process. Then again, one more thing you have to know, main thing is patching. Frequently you see within for each month, nearly 2 to 3 patchings will be released by VMware. So again, installing the patching, it is a tedious process. Okay, it is a tedious process. Then licensing is needed. Okay, that's another process. If you are purchasing the license for 1 year, you can use only for 1 year. Then again, you have to purchase the license. This is again a tedious process. So these are some disadvantages of using EXI hypervisor. So nowadays, how we can overcome this? Nowadays, you see, most of the companies are shifting to cloud service providers. That's what I told initially. So most of the companies are shifting to cloud service providers, since due to this tedious process of patching, then licensing, then more number of professionals are required for managing the service. They are moving to cloud service provider like Alibaba Cloud or AWS. now some more advanced terms I am going to tell. You can note this and you can learn this. So this is what we learned till now. It's a concept of virtualization. We learned about virtualization. Now you see, next level of virtualization is there. You have to know what is that. But it is not in the syllabus also. So few terms you have to remember. Containerization is one of the terms you have to remember. Then Docker is another software. It is similar to VirtualBox. You have to remember. And another one term is frequently used in corporate nowadays. Kubernetes. You have to know about Kubernetes. Now we can see something about what is containerization, what is Docker, and what is Kubernetes. It is the next level of virtualization, I can tell. So now we can see what is containerization. So now you see, you are creating a virtual machine. For what purpose you may be creating the virtual machine? You may be install some application. Yes. For example, if you want to run a web application, you will create a virtual machine. Then what you will do? You will install a Apache Tomcat server. You will create the application and you will run the application. Yes. So now you see, for working with a simple application, what you are going to do is you are going to install the VirtualBox. Then again you are going to install a guest OS. again it will take half an hour for installing the guest OS. Then again what you are going to do, you are going to install Apache Tomcat server on that guest OS. Then again you are going to develop your application on that you are going to install your application on that Apache Tomcat server. You are going to run the application. It is a tedious process. It will take more than 2 to 3 hours for installing and running a simple application. Now see, container. You will create a container. In that container, what will be there? Just the server applications will be there. The server will be there, and the configuration for running that server will be there. Now, what you will do is you will deploy this container. Deploy this container by using the Docker tool. Docker tool is there. Docker is a software similar to that we have VirtualBox. You will deploy this container. Okay, it's a lightweight. It is a lightweight container. It is a lightweight, so that it's the size of the container will be very small, and you can install that container in any of the server. Okay. Now you have to know what is Kubernetes. What role Kubernetes is going to play. Kubernetes, by using Kubernetes, what you can do is you can manage these containers. The different containers you are going to install. So you see in a typical enterprise scenario, more than thousands of containers will be running. More than thousands of containers will be running in a distributed way, distributed cluster. So what you can do is by using this Kubernetes, some commands are there, and Kubernetes, some Linux commands are there. By using that command, what you can do is you can manage that container which is present in distributed cluster. And one more thing you have to remember here, for each container, what you can do is you can assign individual IP. Individual IP you can assign for each container, and you can work with the container. Okay, that is the next level of virtualization. Most probably we are not. This is not included in the syllabus. Most probably after 2 to 3 years, no, this topics may be included in the syllabus. So you can refer this. Once again, I'll repeat the topics: containerization, Docker, and Kubernetes. So now we can move with the installation of EXI hypervisor. So now first what you have to do is EXI hypervisor. You have to download from the VMware website. Now I will show that. You have to download so this is now the version is 7.0. Now the version is 7.0. Now this is the website my.vmware.com. You have to go to this website and you have to log in. Already I told that we have to provide the username, password. And one more thing, for downloading this hypervisor, what you have to do is you have to give your details. You have to provide one more details. Okay, you have to click one button, purchase this product. One button will be there that you have to click. Okay, now you can find the product here. You see, this is a product, VMware vSphere hypervisor EXI ISO image. You have to download this. Okay, now the version is 7.0. What version I am going to work is with 6.5 version 6.5. Okay, so you have to know this. So first you have to download this hypervisor software. Okay, EXI hypervisor. So now how I am going to demonstrate, you have to know. Now how I am going to demonstrate, actually in an enterprise scenario, there is no OS. There is no OS. This will be installed in the machine itself. Okay, in the enterprise server, when you are purchasing the server, enterprise server, this product will be inbuilt, it will be present in the enterprise server. Okay, so now for demonstration purpose, we cannot do that. I cannot purchase the enterprise server now. So what I am going to do is I am going to install this hypervisor, EXI hypervisor, in a VMware workstation. I am going to install. Okay, and I am going to create virtual machine using this EXI hypervisor. So that you have to know. So now we can see. I will show the demo video for this. So what you have to do is, as I mentioned earlier, first you have to download EXI hypervisor. First you have to download EXI hypervisor. It is an ISO file. Okay, it is an ISO file you have to download. So now listen carefully the video. So first you have to open VMware workstation. First you have to open VMware Workstation. So now you have to choose next. Now you have to choose, you have to give the name, you have to give the name of the particular server name. Okay, you have to provide that. Click OK. So prior to this, you have to choose. Okay, I will display the video again. Now see the screen. You see installer disk image file, ISO file. You have to choose that file. Okay. What you have to do is you have to download this installer. That is, I have downloaded 6.5, but the current version is 7.0. You have to download. Okay, you have to download and you have to keep it in your local file. Okay. So now here you have to give browse. Browse. You have to choose that file. Okay, you have to choose that file. Okay. Now again, you have to provide next. Now you have to give the virtual machine name. Now again, next. Now maximum disk size. Now I am giving it 40 GB. So by default 40 GB is there. We have to proceed with that. Now installation. Okay, it will take nearly 30 minutes for installing the EXA hypervisor. Within 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes it will take for installation. So very simple. Previously, when you are installing OS, what you will do, you will select the ISO file image of the particular OS. Here what you have to do is, you have to choose particular EXA 6.50 hypervisor file. You have to choose, that's the thing. Again, one more thing you have to know here, you cannot use mouse. Inside this VMware EXA server, you cannot use your mouse. You can use only keyboard. Keyboard option is provided here. Okay, that you have to know here. And one more thing you have to know, if you want to release your mouse, okay, if you want to release your mouse, no, you have to use Control plus Alt. Okay, if you are in a VMware EXA server, your mouse will be disabled. Okay, so then if you want to come to your physical machine, what you have to do is you have to press Control plus Alt. Okay, frequently you have to do this. Okay, please remember. So when you want to move to, now I cannot demonstrate that, it is not possible since I am playing the video, it is not possible for you. So what you have to do is, if you want to go inside the VMware, that is EXA server, you have to click your mouse, so that you will be inside the VMware EXA server. Now if you want to release your mouse, what you have to do is you have to press Control plus Alt. It is beyond there. Below you can see Control plus Alt you have to provide, so that your control will be coming to your physical machine. Okay, when you are pressing the mouse inside this VMware EXA, your control will be inside the VMware EXA server. And when you have to return back to the physical machine, you have to press Control plus Alt. That is needed. Okay, that you have to know. So now it will take nearly 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to skip some steps. So now listen. Now all of you listen carefully. It will ask. It is similar to the process of installing the OS. Okay, DOS OS or some other OS, you will install only by using the keyboard. Now same thing we have to do here also. So now you see it is asking enter to continue. So you have to press enter. So now F11, you have to press F11. Okay. You have to press F11. So cannot use mouse. Okay, now again you have to press enter to continue. Now and now you see, listen, all of you listen carefully. You have to provide the password. Root password you have to provide. Why is, now we are going to create a virtual machine by using web interface. Okay, from some other machine. So from my physical machine, I am going to type the IP address of this particular EXA server. Okay, this particular EXA server. During that time, it will ask the username password. So what you have to do is you have to provide a root. The username will be root. By default, it will be root. You have to provide the password here. That password you have to remember. Okay, that password you have to remember. So you have to provide the password here. So again, to coming to the next line, you have to press tab. You have to press tab. Okay, so that it will be coming to the next line. You have to give the confirm password. Okay, now it will be running. So now F11, confirm install F11. Now you have to press F11. So it will be running, installing. Okay, EXA server will be installing in my VMware workstation. So I will be skipping some steps. Now see, installation is going fast. Okay, now you have to reboot. So now you have to reboot. Now you have to reboot the server. So now you have to go to the boot option. After loading, you have to go to the boot option by typing F2, F12. So it is loading. So it will take another couple of minutes for loading. Okay, now listen. This kind of window will be coming for you. So listen here. Automatically, an IP address is set for the server. This is will be set by automatically. Now it is in DHCP. Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol is enabled. Now what you have to do is you have to change this DHCP to static. Then only we can access this server. Okay. So what you have to do is now this by default one IP address will be created. If you want, you can change this also, but I am not going to change this. But this DHCP I have to change as static. Okay. For that, what you have to know, you have to go for boot option. Okay, you have to go for boot option. You can see in the last, move the mouse. You can see it's F2. Okay, it's not F12. F2 key you have to press. Okay, F2 key you have to press. How to press is you have to move to your this console. Okay, VMware EXI console you have to move. For moving that, you have to press your mouse inside that VMware EXI. Okay, so that you will be inside the EXI server. And when if you want to come to the physical machine, you have to press Control plus Alt plus Control. You have to press. Okay, that is needed. Okay. So see F2. Now you have to press F2. So now you see it will ask for password. Some password you have to type, which you provided previously when you are creating. When you are creating the EXI server, you have given some password that you have to provide here. Now you see one more thing. Now you are in the EXI server. Okay. Now you see in the below you can see press Control plus Alt to release the mouse cursor. Okay. Now the mouse cursor will not be visible for you. Okay. Now if you want to release the mouse cursor, what you have to do is Control plus Alt you have to press. Okay. That this you have to remember. Okay. Now you will be taken to another page, configuration page. So now here you have to configure the network. Okay. Again you have to use only the arrow key. Mouse is not. We cannot use mouse here. Okay. Now you see you have to press this option. Now listen, how to change this option is you have to press the down arrow, and for choosing this option you have to press spacebar. Okay. For choosing this initially IPv4. No, it is assigned. Okay, once again I will explain this. Okay. Now you have to go to configure network. Okay. Here IPv4 configuration. By default, use dynamic IP address is enabled. Okay. By default, use dynamic address is enabled. Now what I have to do is I have to change to static IP. Set static IPv4 address. Okay. For that, what you have to do is you have to choose this option by using arrow. Okay. By arrow and use spacebar. You have to use the spacebar for choosing this option. Okay. Mouse is not possible here, so that I am explaining this. Okay. So you have to use spacebar for choosing this option. Okay. Now you can change. That's all. Okay. If you want, you can change the IP address. Now I am not going to change the IP address. I am going to proceed with the same IP address, which is created by default. Okay. Now you have to press escape. Okay, escape. So it will ask for saving. Yes, you have to press yes, and again you have to press escape key double time so that it will come to the console. Okay, this is a console which we are getting. So that's all about this video. So once again I will shortly tell what we are going to do in this video. So we are going to create first we are going to open the VMware workstation. We are going to create a virtual machine. In that virtual machine, what you are going to do? You are going to provide this VMware hypervisor 6.5 ISO file you are going to provide. Okay, it will install, and in between it will ask the password root password for this particular hypervisor. You have to provide the root password, and finally after the installation is completed, it will reboot, and one console will be displayed, that will be in yellow and black color. Console will be displayed for you. After displaying that console, what you have to do? Static IP you have to provide. By default, it is dynamic host configuration protocol is enabled for particular IP address. IP address will be automatically created. You did not want to provide the IP address. If you want, you can change. But I am proceeding with the same IP address. Now what we have to do is we have to change that DHCP to static. For that, what you have to do? You have to go for boot option. Okay. For that, you have to press F2. F2 again. You have to use keyboard there for pressing F2. Then you have to go for IPv4 configuration. Then there you have to choose static IP by you pressing the spacebar, and then you have to press escape. It will ask for yes or no, saving option, yes or no. You have to type Y, then again you have to press escape key for 2 to 3 times, so that you will be taken to the main console. That's all. Okay. So now our server is running. Now what you have to do is please keep this server running. Okay, don't shut down the server. If you are shut down in the server, we cannot create a virtual machine in the CXA server. Now what we have to do is the server will be running. Okay, in the back the VMware workstation server will be running. Okay, now we are going to create a virtual machine by using this CXI server. Okay. Okay, now the first step is completed. I have created EXI server. Okay, I have created ESI hypervisor. Now it is waiting. It is running. Okay, it is running in the VMware workstation, and you have to know that IP address. Okay, I didn't remember what is IP address. 192.168. I think 35.1 something number is there. You have to remember that. Okay, it is waiting in that IP address. Okay, you think like that. Now, what I am going to do is, in that particular VM hypervisor, in that server, I am going to create a virtual machine. Okay, from my physical machine. Okay, and how I am going to create it by using web interface. Okay, I am going to provide the IP address of that particular server, ESI hypervisor server, and through the web interface, through HTML5 web interface, HTML5 page web interface, I am going to create a virtual machine in that particular ESI hypervisor server. That is the thing I am going to do. Okay, now you can see this. So now again, you open the browser. Okay, you open the browser. Okay, you open the browser. This is not needed. Okay, you do not want to open this. Okay, now open the browser. Okay, now you see the IP address. It's very important. Okay, now you see the IP address, not the IP address 192.168.83.136. This is the IP address. Okay, you have to know. Now the server is waiting in this IP address. Okay, server is running in this IP address. Now you have to type this IP address in the browser. From anywhere you can type. From the LAN network with this IP address 192.168. This network IP address you can do this from any device from your network. Okay, I cannot do from the public network. It is not possible. It is a local address, no, 192.168. So in this network, you can create virtual machine from any machine. Okay, in this particular server. Okay, that's the advantage. Okay, now you see. Now you have to note this IP address 192.168.86.1. Okay, now you open the browser. Okay, open the browser. Now you type this IP address http://192.168. Okay, again I had checked 83.136. Okay, 83.136. 83.136. 136. Okay, now you type enter. Now listen here. This kind of page will be coming. Okay, this kind of, since I am using HTTPS. Okay, secure protocol is used here, so it is coming like this. So what you have to do is, if you are using Chrome browser, this problem will not be there, I think. Okay, you have to go for advanced. Accept, risk, and continue. You have to click accept, risk, and continue. Now you see this is a home page. This is displayed for you. Okay, this is a web page. This is displayed for you, and now you have to provide the username password here. You have to provide the username password here. Now you have to provide the username password here. Okay, username, it is by default is root, and you have to provide the password. Now you see. Okay. Now you see this is a graphical user interface. I told graphical user interface which is displayed for you. Okay, you see what is it now? You can compare this with the virtual machine, VMware. No, it's not VMware, VirtualBox. You see, VirtualBox, no, this kind of graphical user interface would be there. Then this page is developed by using HTML5. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, now you see, VirtualBox, you have to, this is software which you have to install in all the systems. Yes or no? If you want to create, you cannot. If you want to create in a particular system, you can install that particular software. This is not needed. Okay, I am going to install the hypervisor in one of the server, and from any machine I can access that. I can access that particular server, and I can create a virtual machine in that particular server. Okay, so this is a graphical user interface. This is displayed for you. On the left side, you can see how many virtual machines are created, how many storages are present, what networking are present. All this you can see in the left side. Okay, here you can provide. I told no, get vCenter server. You see, I told already. So what is a vCenter? What is the purpose of vCenter? You see, you think that you are creating virtual machine here. Okay, If you are creating 10 to 15 virtual machines, you can manage that. It is easy to manage. But you see, you think that in an enterprise scenario, more than 500 virtual machines are there. How you will manage that? It is a tedious process. Each and every time you have to log into a virtual machine, 500 virtual machines are there, you have to log in, it is a tedious task. So to manage that, our VMware has come with a product named as vCenter, the vCenter server. Okay, so that's nothing but if you want to manage these virtual machines which are created by EXA server, you can install vCenter and you can manage this virtual machines. Okay, this is another product, but we cannot install this product. The reason is we need minimum 8 to 16 GB RAM is needed for installing this vCenter. Okay, now I am proceeding with the video. You see, so now you see you can find the storage. Okay, this is the storage. By default, data store 1 is there. Okay, so now one more thing you have to know here. Now what you have to do is for installing the OS, guest OS, first you have to upload the ISO file in this data store. Okay, that is needed. Okay, you understand? So since this data store, where is data store is present, it is present in the server. It's not in your machine. Okay, so first what you have to do is you have to upload the ISO image file to the data center so that the particular ISO image file will be present in the server. Okay, that you have to do. I'm going to do that now. Okay, clear? Okay, now you see. So for that what you have to do is, once again I'll repeat. Once again I'll repeat this important step. Okay, now you have to go to store. Okay, now data store. You click the data store, and in the top you can find data store browser. You have to click that. Okay, data store browser. You have to click data store browser. So you'll be taken to this window. So now what you have to do is you have to create a directory. Okay, without creating directory also you can work. I am creating directory Windows 7, Windows ISO, create directory. Okay, now created. Now what you have to do, you have to upload that ISO file, Windows 7 ISO file. You have to upload here. Okay, so it will take some 30 minutes. Since this 3 to 4 GB file is there, it will take some 50 to 20 minutes for the uploading. Okay, now you get to upload this in the data. Okay, previously in VirtualBox, what you will do? You are going to create in your own system, own physical machine you are going to create. So you did not want to upload that. Directly you can provide that in the VirtualBox. But here you have to upload that in the server machine. Okay, you are going to create a virtual machine in the server. Some other machine you are going to create a virtual machine. So what you have to do is you have to upload this file. Okay, now I am going to skip the steps. The reason is it will take more time. Okay, 4 GB, nearly 3 to 4 GB file is there to upload. So it will take some more time. So I am going to skip this. So now it is completed. So this process is completed. Okay, so please remember, without creating, uploading the ISO file, it is not possible to create a virtual machine. You can create a virtual machine, but only the client machine will be there. Only the client machine will be there. The OS will not be loaded. Okay, you cannot provide the OS without creating data store. Okay, data store is important concept you have to remember here. Okay, now again I am created. You see, now it is uploaded. The data store is uploaded. Now what you have to do is you have to create a virtual machine. For creating virtual machine, in the left side you can find virtual machines option is there. You see 0. I didn't create any virtual machine, so it is 0 now. Okay, now you see, for creating virtual machine, now you have to create a virtual machine. Okay, left side you can find the option virtual machines. So now create register virtual machine. You have to click that. Okay, now create new virtual machine. Okay, now you have to provide the virtual machine name. So now you have to provide virtual machine name. Virtual machine, I am giving as virtual machine 1. So now here you can choose 6.5 or 5.5. Now I am going with the 5.5. Okay, no problem. It is not a problem. But I choose 5.5. Now you have to choose the voice. Now you have to choose the voice. Okay, listen. Name, you have to give the virtual machine name. That is nothing but the guest OS name you have to provide. Then you have to choose 5.5 or 6.5. It is not a problem, but I choose 5.5. Okay, so lower version if you are choosing, there will not be any problem. Okay, since Windows 7 I am going to install, I am going to choose 5.5. Okay, now 5.5 Windows, then you got to choose the, you got to select the OS, which OS you are going to install, you got to select. That's all. Okay, now you see, when you compare this EXE hypervisor with the VirtualBox, it is easy. Anyone can create a virtual machine by using this. Okay. Now again next. Now you have to by default the data store will be coming there. Okay. Now you have to do some configuration. Okay. Now you have to do, listen carefully again. Capacity planning is very important. Okay. You see, capacity planning I has given 32 GB, but by default only 30 GB is there. I assigned only 30 GB for this. Now see, it is coming 32 GB. So I cannot create a virtual machine. Reason, yes, for this is exceeding, the size is exceeding. So now what I have to do, I have to change the hard disk size. Okay. You see, I am going to change the hard disk size to 32 to some 15 or 5, like that I have to change at 25. Okay, I'm doing 25. Now all the configurations, many configurations are there. Now you can set as default. Don't change that. Now one more thing, what you have to do? What is missing here? We have to choose the ISO file. We have to give the boot ISO file, booting ISO file. We have to provide. So for that, what you have to do is you have to choose that data store where you have uploaded that particular ISO file. You have uploaded that ISO file in the data store. Now you have to choose that location. You see, by default, host device will be there. In the host device, there is no ISO file. So what you have to do here is, it's very important. You have to choose the data store here, data store. Okay, now that I have done here, please see here. Okay, you have to choose data store ISO file. Okay, you have to choose data store ISO file. Here you see, I have created Windows underscore ISO file I have created. That file will be coming here, and Windows 7.iso file will be coming. You have to choose that. You have to choose that. Okay, and you have to give select. Now again next. Now you have to give next. So now you see, this is a configuration. Okay, this is a configuration. Now you see here, again memory I am giving 2 GB. 2 GB memory I am providing here. Okay, so be cautious. 2 GB. If your system is 4 GB, if you are running 3 OS with the 2 GB RAM, it is 6 GB. So that your physical OS will be hanging. So you be careful in giving this. Okay, since I am going to run only one machine, I has given us 2 GB. Okay, so no problem for me. Now you have to click finish. You have to click finish. So now you see, it will be running. So now your virtual machine will be created. Okay, now your machine will be created. So now normal process. Okay, you have to double click this, and you click this window. This it will take. Now it is normal installation. Okay. So you see graphical user interface will be there. Okay. What is the utilization for your CPU? Everything will be displayed in this graphical user interface. That is one of the advantage of using this hypervisor. So now the Windows file is loading. Now this is a normal procedure. How you install Windows in an ordinary VirtualBox or physical OS. How you will install the install? No, that is ordinary process. It is ordinary process for you. Again, it will take some 20 to 25 minutes for installing a Windows. So most probably I will be skipping some steps. So you see here, let us choose language. So now the files are copying, the files are copying. Okay, 92. Okay. Okay. Now it is restarting. So one more thing you have to know here, it is loading in a, okay, through internet it is loading actually. Okay, you have to know this. Okay. It's not running from your physical machine. That you have to know here. Since I am giving IP address, it is running from the remote OS, it is running. Remote server, it is running from the remote server. So I am creating virtual machine in the remote machine. Okay, that's the thing you have to know, remember here. Okay, now it is loading. So this is nothing but a normal Windows installation. Okay, we are not doing anything new here. Just we are going to install Windows. Okay, but we are installing in a server machine. That you have to remember here. We are not going to install in your physical machine. That is the thing you have to remember here. So you did not want to check the configuration of your machine here in this case. Okay. But I had to check the configuration since I am installing my own system, so I had to check the configuration of the physical machine. But in the real-time scenario, no, you did not want to check the configuration of your own physical machine. It's not needed here. Okay, you think that your server may work in your college. If you are going to install this in your college, you think that your college you are going to do virtualization by using this EXA software. So what you have to do is from your machine, you can browse your server address and you can install the physical virtual machine in your server. Okay, so in this case you did not want to bother about the configuration of your physical machine, your own physical machine, since you are not going to install the OS in your own physical machine. You are going to install in a server. I think most probably I can tell that in most of the colleges this software may be used. Okay, VMware will be used in most of the colleges for virtualization or on-premise cloud. If you want to set up on-premise cloud or virtualization in your organizations, most of the organization may be using VMware nowadays. But nowadays again they are shifting to the cloud service providers. It's very difficult to manage. In a simple organization with 50 to 60 members, it is easy. But in the big organization, no, it is very difficult to manage the CIC server. That's it. It is loading. Again, Windows is loading. So now you have to give the username. So now you have to give next. So now I'm proceeding without password. Now next. Now see, our Windows is loaded. Okay, Windows is loaded from the server. Now again, please remember, it is not loading from your physical machine. Okay, it is loading from the server. Okay. So now you see the Windows machine is loaded with. Now you can work as normally. Normally, what are the files you create, everything you can do that. Okay. Now I am going to shut down, and we can see how to restart that. It is restarting. Okay, now you see Windows machine is loaded. So now you can go to computer, you can create some file, you can see view all the files. Okay, so now I'm going to shut down this. And close this. Now listen how to start this. Okay, now it is power off. Now if you want to start this machine, now just you have to give power on. Okay, so graphical user interface, everything is there. Now you can find the configuration, then the in graph you can find the CPU utilization, everything you can find in the graphical manner, you can find it will be present below. Okay, so now to start this, now you see the configuration, resource consumption. Okay, how what are the resources used. Okay, graphical manner is there. Okay, but I cannot see that option here. Okay, in a graphical way you can find all the. Okay, now that's all. Now if you want to start the machine, you have to click this power on. That's all. You can start the machine. So I hope that all of you understand this video. So we can have a short recap of the video what we have done. So first we have installed the EXE server in VMware Workstation. Okay, and after that what we have to do is by default one password is given for you. One password will be, no, it's not password, IP address. By default one IP address will be there. What you have to do is it is in a DHCP mode. So you have to change the address as static IP. Okay, for that you have to press F2, and you have to go to the boot option, and you have to change that IP address to static IP. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to open a browser, you have to type that particular IP address which is provided for you. So it is displayed in the particular console of the EXE server. Okay, now you have to give the username password. Username is by default is root, and you have to provide the password so that it will display a dashboard for you. It will display a dashboard for you. In that dashboard, left side you can find virtual machine, storage, and networking. Okay. Now first what you have to do is you have to upload the ISO file of the particular OS, guest OS which you are going to install. That particular ISO file you have to upload in the data store. So what I have done is I have created one file in the data store. Windows I_ISO, and that I have uploaded that file. Okay. Now what you have to do after uploading is completed, it will take again 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes it will take for uploading the particular file. It's based on the size. Okay. Now after upload is completed, what you have to do is you have to create a virtual machine. For creating the virtual machine, left side you can find one option, virtual machines, and create virtual machine. Create virtual machine. Okay. Create register virtual machine option will be there. You have to click that, and you have to provide the configuration. Again, capacity planning is very, very important here. You have to storage size. You have to choose according to the size which you have given for that particular EXI server. Okay. Now you have to provide everything. And one more thing, important thing, you have to provide the ISO image file location. Okay. By default, it is CD drive will be there. You have to change that to data store file, and you have to choose that particular ISO file location. You have to choose that. That is very, very important. You have to do. Okay. Then normal procedure. Okay. Normally, how we will install your OS in a physical machine or in a virtual machine. The same process you have to repeat here. Okay. And finally, it will be completed. Installation will be completed, and your OS will be loaded. Okay. And if you want to power on the OS again, you have to click power on. Okay. That's a very simple process by using EXI server. Okay. Now again I will repeat some disadvantages. Again I am repeating this for 2 to 3 times. Okay. You have to know this clearly. Okay. You see, creating one virtual machine, 2 virtual machine, or 100 virtual machine is not a problem for you. But you see, in enterprise, you may be creating thousands of virtual machines. Now the problem arises here. How we will manage this 1,000 virtual machine? Yes, it's a problem. Okay. So how we can solve that is by using vCenter. Okay, vCenter is a product by which we can control all these multiple EXI servers. Okay, in enterprise. Okay, so I can due to some constraints such as RAM size, I cannot show that demonstration of vCenter. Actually, vCenter I have downloaded that. It is a 5 to 6 GB file, yes, there. But due to the constraints, since my system has only 6 GB RAM, minimum 8 GB should be there. 8 GB also it is a problem. Okay, 8 GB minimum 12 GB if it is there, we can install that vCenter, and we can manage this multiple EXI server by using that vCenter. Okay, so that's all of the day. So we can see the final recap what we learned today. So first we learned about so once again I'll repeat this. First we learned about VMware EXI server. Okay, it is an enterprise as type 1 or bare metal hypervisor. Okay, so bare metal hypervisor means what? They will not use OS. It is present inbuilt in with the enterprise servers. Okay, VMware EXI server will be present in inbuilt with the. Now what we can do is by VMware EXI server, we can create multiple virtual machine in a server. Okay, it's not in your physical machine. You can create in a server. You can create. Okay. Now we have seen some disadvantages of this. Okay, I explained. One of the disadvantages is difficult to manage. Okay, more number of professionals are needed for managing this. Then, then patching is needed. Regular patching is needed. No, for 1 month, 2 to 3 times they will give some patchings. We have to do the patchings. You see, if your 1,000 virtual machines are there, and if you consider 100 EXI servers are there with you, you have to do the patching in 100 EXI server. It is a tedious process. Yes. Now, licensing again, you know, 1 year each and every year you have to renew the license. Again, it is another tedious process. So that only nowadays, no, most of the enterprise are shifting from this on-premise cloud to the cloud service providers like Alibaba Cloud. Okay, now they are skipping. Many of the companies, you can see the Paytm or in India Paytm, they are using cloud service provider Alibaba Cloud like that. So most of the companies they are skipping. Okay, now it's difficult to manage the on-premise cloud. It is difficult to manage the VMware and vCenter. It is vCenter also it is difficult to manage. So that they are skipping to the cloud service provider that you get to know. Then finally we learn the next level of virtualization. Nowadays, no, you see, for creating a simple application, for running a web application, what is the process you have to do? In traditional virtualization, what you have to do? You have to you have to install a virtual machine. First, you have to create a virtual machine. Then you have to install the guest OS. If you are installing Windows 7 OS, it will take what? Nearly 25 to 30 minutes for installing the OS. Yes. Now again, what you have to do? You have to install the server, install the Apache Tomcat server. Then, if you are going to develop some application by using Dreamweaver, okay, some GUI tools, IDE, then you have to install that IDE. Then again, you have to create application. You have to deploy that application. You have to create. If you are creating web application by using Java, JSP, you have to create a WAR file. Again, you have to upload that WAR file. It is a tedious process. It will take more than 1 week or 2 weeks, you can tell. But now that the technology is different, we are going to use container for that. Okay. So we are going to create a separate container. In that container, what will be there? What software is required for running your application will be present in that particular container. Okay. Now to deploy this container, we are going to use another tool that is known as Docker. Docker is another tool. Is similar to VirtualBox. Okay, it's similar to VirtualBox tool. We will deploy the container. Okay, within the minutes we will deploy the container. Okay, now if you are considering Alibaba Cloud, within 2 minutes you can deploy a container. Okay, then you can deploy a container. That's into that too. Within a seconds, no, you can deploy a serverless container. Now again, another concept is that serverless container. That within a second we can deploy the serverless container. And another important concept you have to know here is Kubernetes. How we will manage the container. Okay, we are installing the container in different OSs or different clusters or different distributed clusters we are going to install. And how we will manage this container is Kubernetes. Kubernetes is another concept. Okay, you have to know that. Here we will use kubectl commands we will use, and using this we will manage the containers which are deployed in the distributed cluster. Okay, so that's all of the day. Thank you for your patient listening. Again, I like to thank our Dr. R.P. Anandakumar sir for giving a chance for this workshop. Okay, again, thank you for the patient patient listening. All the participants, I like to thank. Okay, thank you, one and all.
Okay, thank you, Gavaskar, for the wonderful presentation. One information to the participants. As per the syllabus, we have to do the last experiment. That is today what Gavaskar explained in a tri-stack. But unfortunately, this tri-stack was discontinued. When we are searching in the Google, it was discontinued and they converted it to the OpenStack. But when we are creating this server and client into OpenStack, we found that it is very complicated, and in some places it is asking for some payment also. So what we did is, as per the guidance of Gavaskar, how we converted it is, we have to install a VMware server in your campus, in your college, and the students can install, they can create a VMware client. Gavaskar, can you explain some detail about that, how they can do it in their lab?
Yeah, sir, yes, sir, I can explain. So what you have to do is, you can contact your system administrator. Okay, you can contact your system administrator. Normally, server will be there. In your system, high-end server will be there. Normally, in all the colleges, no, so server will be there. Storage will be more than 1 TB storage will be there. Normally, okay, normally. If it is 50 GB storage, also no problem. You can create virtual machines in that server. So you can contact the system administrator. You ask them to install this hypervisor, okay, EXI hypervisor in their particular server, okay. And what you can do is, you can ask the students from their individual system to type this IP address in the browser, okay, in the browser. And what they can, again, one more thing here you have to know here, the browser which you are doing, which you are typing, should be HTML5 enabled. That is very, very important here. Okay, if your browser is not HTML5 enabled, that is a browser Internet Explorer 7 less than 7.0 version, it will not work here. Okay, so that is the important thing you have to remember. So browser should be HTML5 enabled. So what you can do is, you can give that particular IP address, get the IP address of that particular server. Okay, and you can ask the students to install as much of machines, as much of virtual machines. That's not. One more thing you have to know here. So at that time, n number of users can create a virtual machine. That's the thing. Okay, that's the beauty of this. Okay, so previously in VirtualBox only one user can create, no, but here if 50 students are there, you can make them to create a virtual machine in your particular server at the same time. That's the beauty of this. Okay, that you can do that. Okay, moreover, I have to add what our Andos are told. OpenStack nowadays, OpenStack, tri-stack, like this, many open source softwares are there, but they are making it as paid. Okay, why? The reason is, if you are using, they will not go for a cloud service provider. Okay, they will create an on-premise. So that's some constraints are there nowadays. Most of the free services are cancelled nowadays. Before 1 to 2 months before, most of the free services provided by tri-stack, OpenStack, like this, many services are provided. Some of the companies provided for storing, we can store 50 to 60 GB, 1 TB storage they provided nowadays. Nowadays, they all these companies, they have changed that as a paid service, so it is not possible. So that really we have used the same thing here. This from the web interface we are creating the virtual machine. Same process is repeated in the OpenStack also. Okay, thank you. So that's all.
Yes, Gavaskar. Yes, Gavaskar. Okay, dear participants, we have received your feedback on all the days. So we are going through that. We are happy on seeing your feedback. And now I like to hear from you on live regarding this faculty development program. If any of you are interested to share your feedback, now you can unmute your audio and you can share the feedback. Sorry, before going there, if you have any queries, that also you can ask or you can type in the chat window. There was the one query is there, I think.
Can we access VMware VirtualBox guest OS by more than one user? Okay, that's nothing but. So again, we have to know the difference between VirtualBox and the EXA server. Okay, VirtualBox, what you are going to do is you are going to create in your own machine, physical machine. Okay, you are going to install VirtualBox in your own physical machine, and what you are going to do is you are going to access that virtual machine. So what you have to do is they can access the particular machine. For that, you have to provide the networking. Networking should be there. Okay, you have to provide network connection. You have to set the IP address like that, so that you can access that particular virtual machine which is present in VirtualBox of your own physical machine. Okay, but in this case, no. What you can try is you can try with the EXA server. Then it is easy for you. Okay, you can install a EXA hypervisor in your system, and you can provide the IP address to the particular usage. They can access the Windows OS which is installed in the server. Okay, in your case, you can use EXA server. You can use instead of using VirtualBox.
Okay, Gavaskar, do you like to give any concluding remark for all these 3 days? Anything you like to add?
So you see since our ask, I am telling that nowadays, the virtualization, this concept, what we learned, VirtualBox, VMware, and the virtualization is going to the next level. That I explained already in this session also. Nowadays, the enterprise or the organization, they are shifting to microservices. That is nothing but the Kubernetes, what I told, containerization, then Kubernetes, then Docker. These are things nowadays they are using. I explained the disadvantages of the VMware also. Okay, virtualization also some disadvantages there. You see, for creating again I am repeating this. Okay, if you want to create a simple application, why we are going for virtualization is, if I want to create a simple application, you see that for a server application. Okay, you have to create a server application. What you have to do? You have to create a virtual machine, then you have to install the OS, then you have to install the Apache Tomcat server, then you install the JSP, you have to configure everything. It will take more time. Okay, it will take 3 to 4 hours. Now you see, container, what is needed? Okay, for running a simple web application, you need a server, and you need some JDK. You are installing that. Okay, you are installing that, and you are creating the package, and you are deploying that package in a machine. Okay, in a machine. You are not creating a virtual machine here. So virtual machine creation is to take half an hour. So the container, how to run that container is you are using a Docker. Docker is another tool similar to VirtualBox. You are using that. Then to control the Docker, you are using Kubernetes. Kubernetes is another tool we are using. So this is the current scenario. So we are using. So please, you can prefer the net, and you can find this. So please, this is the current scenario. Please you learn. That's the concluding remark which I am going to give for you. Thank you.
Okay, Gavaskar, one more question is there. If we try to install a VMware ESXi server, we need OS in our server or not?
Yeah, it's needed. Okay, that's what I explained. What you have to do is, first you have to upload the image file of the Windows in the data store. First you have to upload that. Okay, then only it is possible. So that's the thing from our machine. We have to do is we have to upload our that particular Windows ISO file to the data store in the server. We have to upload. Then only we can install. Okay, that's I think I have answered for this question.
Okay, thank you, Gavaskar.
Okay.
Yeah, now Usha Madam and Bright Jose is online. So, Bright, do you like to give any concluding remark? Bright Jose?
Yeah, good afternoon. I don't have much remarks. So, so this is the Cloud Sim. Is a tool which is used for simulating the cloud scenarios. So I think most of the faculties, they not only for the academic, they can go for with this PhD research purpose also, because most of the faculties, they may do that their PhD in the area of cloud computing, and they can also try with these kind of simulation tools. There are other alternative simulation tools also there. You please try with that. Okay, so thank you so much for the participation. All the participants, thank you so much. And I really thank the Department of Computer Science and Engineering and IT department for arranging this workshop, and great support from our college management, especially for our correspondent, Bosser father, then principal sir, and all the deans. So I thank everyone at this moment. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Brian. See, there is a query from the participant. There is a request from the participants. They need the email IDs of the presenters so they can contact them in future also for some references. So I request the presenters, you can type your email IDs in the chat window. So the needy people may be contacting you regarding this. Now I request the participants to give your live feedback. Participants, now you can unmute your audio and you can give the feedback regarding this faculty development program.
So, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, myself, Bastin Rogers, assistant professor working in Stella Maris College of Engineering, sir. So, first of all, I thank St. Xavier's College, especially Department of CSC and IT for organizing this faculty development program. So, so with these 5 days, you have covered the entire lab for this cloud computing. So it was every day we have learned new concepts. It was very useful for all of us. So thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Over to Varun for the feedback session. Varun?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Varun, please proceed.
Yeah. Sir, we shall get some other live feedback also. So we'll be much happier if we hear some feedback from you to know how we organize and how we can improve ourselves in the future. Benjad, sir.
Yes, good afternoon to you all. This is Ben George. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, good afternoon to you all. This is Ben George, working as a professor in Higher College of Technology, Muscat. Actually, I want to start this remark using a quote. Never stop learning because life never stops teaching. So this is one of the famous quote I used to follow. So I used to learn a lot because as a teacher, you have to learn more than only you can teach. This 6-day workshop was very useful and informative. I want to point out all the names of the presenters who presented all these 6 days, especially Professor Gavaskar, Professor Varun, Professor Bright, and Professor Josephine Usha for your wonderful session. You started from the basics of cloud. You have gone through the Google App Engine, Cloud SIM, virtual machines, Hadoop, and Hypervisor, as well as more practical sessions were covered in all these topics. It's not an easy task to conduct such a workshop using a live session. You need a lot of patience in learning and presenting the things. So I congratulate and appreciate all the presenters who presented the topics. Also, I thank the organizers, especially Professor Antakumar, for organizing this event along with his team. And I also request you to conduct more such kind of workshops in the near future. So thank you for this wonderful workshop.
Thank you, sir. Any other from the participant side? We are expecting your feedback more. You can please unmute and you can speak, or you can present your feedback. Andrew, sir?
Yeah, Varun already Gavaskar sir told the conclusion remark and right, Jose. And now Usha madam, whether she is available. Yeah, we can request Usha madam if she is having any concluding remark or direction to the participants. Usha madam.
Hello, sir. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. You can proceed.
Okay, good afternoon to you all. So this FTP is conducted for the past 6 days. I appreciate all the participants. Okay, so for attending this workshop in an active manner. And again, so I thank all the organizers. Okay, so Dr. R.P. Andrew Kumar sir and Mr. Anthony Jones Kumar sir and my HOD ma'am, Andros ma'am, and Bright Joe sir, and Gavaskar sir, and the organizer Varun. Okay, I thank all the participants. Also, I thank our management of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering to giving this opportunity for taking this FDP. And so actually this FTP is more informative one. So I feel like that. So surely it will help the participants to do more research on this, and also it helps the students to do the cloud computing lab. So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for organizing this FTP.
Okay, thank you, madam. Varun, you are one of the resource person. If you can give your concluding remark regarding the topic, you can do. Varun?
Sir.
Yeah.
First, let me thank Andrew sir, Anthony sir, Andros ma'am for giving me a chance to present or share my knowledge in this forum. And I would also thank Professor Bright Jose and Mr. Baiju for helping me to preparing for my presentation. And actually, this is really an emotional and happiest moment in my life, because I was waiting for a chance, and I got the chance this time to present in front of my professor, who inspired me a lot, and also who is always a role model for me. This session, this FDP has given me a chance to present in front of him, and so I need to thank the organizing team for giving me such a wonderful opportunity. Also, thank to all the participants, because your involvement in the query sessions, so those things made us do more. And so I need to thank all the participants for their wonderful feedback and comments. So always we are ready to address you and help you at any situations, and if you are in need of any help regarding this topic or conducting such events, you can please contact us. I have shared my mail ID also. Also, all the resource persons have shared their mail ID. Also, you can contact our software cell or the department so that you will be so that we will be helping you at any time. So thank you for your participation.
Okay, thank you, Varun. Selvam sir, can you hear me? You every day you used to give feedback in the chat window. If you like, you can speak here. Selvam sir, Dr. Selvam. Dr. Selvam sir, Yeah, you can speak by unmuting your audio.
Sir, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, actually the program is very nicely conducted. I really congratulate and appreciate the organizers, and I really appreciate the speakers, and they have added advantage to the St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering group. I appreciate all the organizers and the head of the department, management for their very appreciable mention. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nanda.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Over to Varun. Varun, sir.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can continue. You can continue.
Yeah. So let me give some instructions to the participants first, then we can continue our session, sir. So, we, the Department of Information Technology and the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, are organizing an online FDP on cyber security. So this week we have conducted for cloud computing. The next week from 22nd to 27th June, we are doing it for cyber security. So the registration will be closed by today evening 4 p.m. So if you wish to register for that too, the register link has been shared in the chat box. So you can use that particular link to attend the FDP in the next week. Also, regarding today's session, after the end of this session, we will be sharing you a link to provide your feedback and attempt to your assessment. So the assessment, it contains 20 multiple choice questions. So while attempting this feedback and assessment, kindly take more concern about your mail ID and name. So the mail ID and the name which you are providing there, that will be used for your e-certification purpose. So the name you provided there will be printed in the certificate as such, and it will be sent to the mail ID you specify there. So while typing your name in your feedback form which we shared today, please type as such what you want to be printed in your certificate. So be kindly careful regarding the filling of the name and the mail ID, and you need to complete that assessment before 2 p.m. So today afternoon before 2 p.m. you need to complete that feedback and assessment, and the certificate will be sent to you before 27th June 2020. So before the end of the next week, you which you are doing today, and we want to assess all the attendance. So after assessing all your attendance and the assessment which you are doing today, we will be sending you your certificate, e-certificate, in the registered link, registered mail ID which you are registering in the feedback link today on or before 27th June 2020. So if suppose if you are not able to receive your receive your e-certificate before 27th June 2020, please mail to us. You might have received your confirmation mail from softwarecellofsxcc@gmail.com. So kindly ping us or send a mail to us in that particular mail ID so that we will be clarifying your doubts. So also if you wish to get any help regarding these topics, and if you wish to conduct any sessions in your concern, you are always welcome to get the help from the software cell or the concerned department or the resource persons who are presented here. So thank you. So now let me invite Dr. Anto Kumar, Head the Department of CSE, to provide his concluding remarks. Anto sir. Andrew sir, I think your mic is muted.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I thank all for your support and your participation. Without your participation, this program will not be a successful one. Now I like to introduce one of our team member, organizing team member, engineer Anthony Jones Kumar. He is the system administrator of our campus. So with his help only, our campus is totally networked, and we are able to do all our network operation. He is used to install all our servers. Suppose if we need a VM server in our campus, immediately he will be doing that. So I know that for this particular lab, you have to reinstall a lot in your campus also. So if you have any queries regarding the installation of surveys, softwares, or making the networking like that, so you can contact him. Now I request Anthony sir to type your email ID in the chat window, so that if the participants require any clarification regarding the networking side or the installation of the software, they may be contacting you. Anthony sir, please. See, also we have a software cell in our campus. It is a association which comprises of faculty members from CSE, Computer Science and Engineering Department, and Information Technology Department. We are providing lot of free services to the educational community. So if you have any help regarding the education community in that area, that is installation, then configuration of the surveys and training for a particular topic, you can contact us. Already Varun gave the email ID. You may be received a mail from that ID. So you can ask your queries in that. We are always ready to support in that. One more thing I have to do that. I have to thank my co-organizer, that is Andros Madam from head of the CSE IT department. So with her guidance only, we are able to organize this event in a right manner. So she is also waiting here to address you. With this overall remark, once again I thank all the participants, because we got wonderful feedback from this faculty development program. So surely we will be continuing this faculty development program in some other topic in the next week. Next week we will be conducting cyber security. Then we are planning to have a faculty development program which will support the faculty members and the research scholars in MATLAB, that we are planning. So after finalizing that, we will be informing you regarding the schedule and the topics that will be also conducted for us. So in the future also, we may be conducting various faculty development program. We will be sending that information to you. I request all of you to actively participate in this faculty development programs and get benefited. Thank you very much. I thank all of you. Over to Varun.
Sir, thank you, sir. And now let me invite Dr. J. Andrews, head of the Department of IT, to deliver her vote of thanks.
Good morning. Good afternoon, one and all.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. I'm very happy to be a part of this FDP. First and foremost, I would like to thank our management, the correspondent, as well as the principal, as well as the deans for providing the opportunity to conduct this type of workshops and also FDPs during this lockdown periods. Thank you, management. Next, I thank the staff members of CSE and the IT department. Because of their support, we are organizing this type of FDPs. Actually, they have given a constant support throughout this program. Whenever anything needed, we will immediately ask the faculty members. After that only, we will see the resource persons from outside. So this workshop is really handled by our faculty members. We are really happy about this. So thanks to CEC as well as IT staff members. And next, I thank the resource persons of this FTP, especially Gavaskar sir. He has given 3 days sessions like VMware, workstation to basics to this containers as well as Kubernetes. Thank you, Gavaskar sir. And I thank Bright sir for conducting Cloud SIM and also the programs related to Cloud SIM. Thank you, Bright sir. Next, I thank Josephine Usha for conducting this, installing Hadoop as well as how to parallelly executing our programs using Hadoop MapReduce programs. Thank you, Usha ma'am. Next, I thank the Varun for, he's an organizer and also he has conducted one session on Google App Engine. Really, it is a very nice session. So I thank everyone, the resource persons as well as the experts for making this FTP as a grand success. Next, I thank the organizing team, Dr. R.P. Antokumar sir. Without his motivation and without his thoughts, this is not came into reality. So with his support, we have organized everything from the identification of a right resource person to starting from that to the end. He has given a constant support and he's also very eager to conduct the next week FDP as well as coming FDPs as well as workshops. So really I thank R.P. Antokumar sir for organizing this workshop. Next I thank Anthony sir. So without his help, we will not able to do any thing because he will giving all the background support like networking as well as other confirmation things. Everything will be done with the help of Anthony sir. So I thank Anthony sir. And next I thank Varun. He's a organizer. I think during this lockdown period, nearly he organized around 35 sessions in a successive manner. And I congratulate as well as I thank Varun sir for giving this type of constant support for organizing this one. And also I thank our skilled assistants Baiju sir as well as John Paul sir for giving the networking supports as well as other hardware supports to our experts. Thank you Baiju sir as well as John Paul sir. Next, I thank all the participants for this 5 days FDP because every day we have around 110 participants. So we have a constant support from all the participants. It's a very a nice one and also a very motivative one for us to arrange successive seminars like this. So thank you all the participants for your patient listening as well as hope that you have understood the basic concepts as well as advanced concepts of cloud computing. Thank you all the participants. Next, I thank the entire team of this FDP. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
And thank you, madam. On behalf of the participants, I thank you all. Thank you also. Varun, you can proceed, Varun.
Yeah. So we want to thank all the participants for such a wonderful event. So your dedication and your participation it is still encouraging us to conduct more like this. And let us go to the next part of the session, that is the feedback and assessment. So let me share the link. Okay, before that, hand raise is there. This unfortunate or known, I don't know. Ma'am Anita, ma'am, you would like to speak? So let me share the link for filling the feedback and assessment. So kindly be careful about filling your name and the mail ID. So please take most care over it. Okay. And hope we have addressed all your mail queries that you sent through your email ID. And you hope we have answered all your queries. If anything is missed, please sorry for that. And if you are in need of any support, you can mail us at any time. Thank you. The feedback link has been shared. The feedback and assessment link has been shared. You can finish it. So in the meantime, we can read some of the feedbacks which were shared through the chat window. So Kapil Krishna, C1111. Thank you for such a wonderful FDP. And congratulations for successful completion. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your participation and support. Organizers, can you share that system administrator sir contact number? Ma'am Selly ma'am, we have shared the mail ID. You can use it, ma'am. And CC 1164 A Agnes Santo. As I am intermediate level in cloud computing, gain knowledge how to install it. Super and informative session. I thank all the presenter and the organizer for conducting such a wonderful session. Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. CC 105. Sir?
Yeah.
Anthony, sir?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Anthony, system admin of this college. If you have any doubts, please contact me as at anthony@sxcc.edu.in. Okay. Thank you all the participants for your presence, and I thank our HODs, Ando Kumar, Andros Madam, and the colleagues Varun, Gavaskar, Bright Jose, Usha Madam, and our management. Okay. I thank all the team members. Okay. Please submit your feedback. The feedback link will be available up to 2 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, dear participants, if you have any queries related to the surveys, networking, installation, that also you can ask with Anthony sir.
So you can just mail to that mail ID anthony@sxcc.edu.in so that he will be responding to you through mail. And CC 11168 Shiny ma'am. Thank you so much for such a wonderful FDP. Please notify me when you organize FDP on workshop and MATLAB. Ma'am, surely by the next week we will be informing you regarding the dates, ma'am. And Deepa ma'am, CC 1059, very informative session. Thank you, sir. Please share the video link, and you have provided your mail ID, ma'am. Kindly get the video link from the website. Okay, from the web page, you can get all the recorded sessions. Also, the video links we will be providing you through your mail ID, ma'am. CC1135 Mary Ada. Thank you for your feedback, ma'am. This FDP was very useful and informative. Thank you, ma'am. And CC1004 Danya, very informative session, ma'am. Thank you. And B. Mohan Raj sir, share the video link for future references. Sir, we will be sharing the recorded video through the web pages, and all other materials we will be sharing you through your registered mail ID, sir. Maybe while you are receiving certificate, everything we will be sharing that mail also, sir. Thank you. CC1044R Satya Priya, ma'am. Congratulations to all the resource persons and the organizer for the wonderful job. Practical explanation was very effective and informative. Thanks a lot. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. CC1127 John Pimosa. Thank you to Dr. R.P. Andrew Kumar, Mr. M. Anthony Jones Kumar, Dr. J. Andrews, and resource persons, principal, deans, management. Wonderful introduction to this lab in Regulation 2017 syllabus to make us easy to handle for our students. Thank you, sir. Selvam sir made a comment, nicely conducted, highly informative. Thanks to organizers. Thank you very much, sir.
Varun, one thing I have to add here. When I was thinking about the faculty development program, Vimo sir gave a suggestion. Why can't you go for a new lab in the new regulation? Like that. So that was the spark to select this topic for our faculty development program. So I have to thank Vimo sir for that also.
Yeah.
Okay, proceed, Varun.
Yeah. And CC1088 Midun D. Really wonderful platform for cloud researchers to gain huge knowledge in cloud computing. All 6 days are awesome. Thanks to one and all for organizing this FTP. Very thankful, sir. Thank you. And we have got lots of positive comments, sir. All sessions were excellent. Thank you all for you and for your efforts taken. Thank you, Mr. Vinod. CC1065 Merli. So very informative session. Good, got good practical knowledge. That's what we need. We need to provide some practical support. That is what we have selected this particular topic. Am I right, sir? Andrew sir?
While we were discussing about to conduct the faculty development program, Pimo sir told me that we can't do select a lab for the new regulation because many of the faculty members may be struggling to conduct the new regulation labs. So for that only I told I am very much thankful to John Pimo sir for giving that idea. Am I audible, Varun?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. We'll continue. And then after that, after getting the spark, I informed you, Anthony sir, and you made that possible. So we got a good number of faculty members, a good organizing team, good resource person. When we spoke to Gavaskar, immediately he accepted that and give us the positive feedback that we can proceed, sir, and he helped us for 3 days. Then you did for one important topic. Bright Joe's done a wonderful thing. Usha madam done a wonderful thing. I know that you all didn't sleep for 1 week, I think. We prepared it within 3 weeks and we are able to complete it successfully. So I once again thank all the resource person. I know that you didn't sleep for at least 2-3 days. For 24 hours, you may be sitting inside in front of the computer and you are trying. Finally, you achieve it, and we are able to share our knowledge to our education community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Varun, please check how many feedbacks were entered.
So now around 15 responses we have got, 16 now.
So those who entered the feedback, they can leave the chat room. Am I right?
It will take some time now, sir. They need to answer all the 20 questions.
Okay. I know.
So if you have entered your feedback, you can leave. And thank you for your participation. You will be receiving your certificates on or before 27th June.
Okay, hope we will be meeting for the next FDP on Monday.